Good evening, everyone. Thank you guys for joining us again this week for another Bet on Black pitch with another amazing founder. My name is Tawana Rivers, the CEO of the 10K Project. This face you may find familiar. I introduce to you Mr. Kelvin Harris. Kelvin is here tonight to talk about his amazing opportunity with Forbes Farmhouse. But you guys may know Kelvin from coming to present to the 10K Project community previously, but not only that, over the last few months, Kelvin has been so gracious with his time. He's come and he's taught us several different wealth building strategies that we did not know exist. And when I tell you he set this place on fire, I am not playing with you. And so not only is Kelvin, a member of the 10K Project with amazing deal flow, he is an educator and a wealth builder. And what I'm gonna do, kind of an extra little thing, as before we end, we're gonna have him put his contact information in here too, for those of you who are looking for wealth building strategies and you're looking for a consultant to help you along the way. Kelvin is your man. So you heard it from me. And so we're so gracious to invite him back to the 10K Project to talk about Forbes Farmhouse, to talk about some of the changes that have occurred with the campaign and with the deal terms, and just overall give us an update on the project. So Kelvin, I'm going to turn it over to you in a moment, but first I want to pull up the campaign page, right? So
beautiful.
This campaign is on Secure Living site. As you guys know, that is a Black-owned investment crowdfunding portal. And so I love, that we're highlighting today not only a Black founder, but also the platform that he's raising capital on is also Black-owned. All right, so here is the campaign page, Forbes Farmhouse Development. The target raise is $535,000. They are 13% of the way there. So we got some work to do tonight, right? One of the things I'll say is when Kelvin came the very first time, the campaign was still in the testing the waters phase, right? And there were a lot of people who were interested and stated that, once the campaign went live, they'd be interested in actually finalizing the investment. When that happens, when you're in that testing the waters phase, typically we get notifications saying the campaign is ready for your investment, right? And you have to kind of go in and reconfirm so that the funds can actually be taken. I know, Kelvin, a lot of people did not respond, right, to that follow-up.
Correct.
So one of the things I want to do tonight is talk about that process and kind of make sure we educate people to go into their spam folder, because sometimes things get trapped in that spam folder. You don't even know it's there, to make sure they don't miss wonderful opportunities. But this is a debt term, 60 months, 12% quarterly distributions, right? A lot of good information on the campaign page. There's a video where you can see the design, absolutely beautiful, clean design. Kelvin also is an architect, and so he did his thing with this design, I'm telling you. So you guys can look through that, look over all the other information. Here's information about the team. Kelvin also has an amazing story. I'm sure he's going to tell us again about just the family and the land and what they're trying to do to save it. And so, here's all your information for due diligence. Once the presentation is over this evening, don't hesitate to go and look at the campaign page. We'll be putting the link in the chat throughout the evening. For all of you watching the replay, the link is also in the newsletter or the email that you got the replay link from. All right, Kelvin, I'm going to stop sharing. And sir, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right. Well, once again, I'm honored and it's a privilege to be here with the 10K Project. I've learned so much by joining this group, as well as I've had the opportunity to share some information that my kind of area of expertise, so to speak. So again, just for those of you who don't know me, my name is Kelvin Harris. My company is Kelstar Consulting. It's a full-service financial consulting, wealth strategy, and wealth advisory firm. I do something called integrated asset management, which is basically business, finance, and real estate consulting. So in my efforts to provide as much value to my clients, I'm constantly researching and looking for ways to do things better, and came across the real estate crowdfunding sort of scenario. Immediately thought to apply that to a personal project of mine, which is the Forbes Farmhouse. So, this is one of those projects that, obviously, like most founders, is near and dear, but I think it has a deeper meaning and a deeper purpose, I would say, just for real estate investors in general and our community specifically. So let's go into that. So talking a little bit about what I like to call the historical context. Not sure how many of you knew, but there was, well, I'll just say this land has been owned by my family, probably going on 5 generations now. And, at one point, and this property is right outside of Tallahassee, Florida, which is the capital. At one point, I'm told from my relatives that somewhere between my great grandparents and my grandparents, we owned, as African Americans, 300 acres in that area. Now, this is when we were farmers back then. But like many African Americans who own land coming to the turn of the century, we see a disturbing trend, which is African American land ownerships were approximately 90% of the 14 million acres of farmland owned by Blacks in 1910 has been either seized or lost. So that land that I'm sure at some point in time that, literally blood, sweat, and tears work for many African Americans, that land that would have been or could have been or should have been our heritage, and the legacy from our elders, that has now been lost. So my family finds itself in that same position, because effectively what happens when you have farmland that you're no longer farming, you're just paying taxes, property taxes, on a non-revenue generating asset. So if the I guess the basis of the Forbes Farmhouse project is one possible solution to how to create an entity that is revenue generating, so that we're not in a position where we continue to lose our land or have it seized due to not paying taxes or tax liens or tax sales and things of that nature. All right, so that's kind of where we start. Now, with that being said, we're looking at the mission of what do we want to do on the property. So our mission is to transform this 5 acres of farm-owned property, into a vibrant community, but more so specifically a custom design, build to rent, modern farmhouse style property that's going to target a few high lucrative markets within the rental, corporate rental space, event space, and those sort of things. So at the end of the day, it's a custom home, but it's a custom home that pays homage to the history in terms of the farmland. So it has a motif like a farm, but just a modern farm style. All right, so put my architect hat on. Where the design concept, where are the influences that we looked at? Well, again, things like there's a style of architecture now called barn dominium. which a lot of times they just take and repurpose barns. Modern farmhouse. We got a lot of inspiration from the Scandinavian style that, because of the climate, the high pitched roofs, those are something that are done quite a bit. So they're, very akin to farms, or what we would have the farm aesthetic be here. So again, the farmhouse is kind of a testament to that versatility and creativity on the architectural side, but we wanted to have it be practical and also revenue generating. All right, now anytime you look at investing in a product or a project, you want to look at the viability. So I wanted to, let me back up, moving a little bit too fast, show some information here. I'm trying to move my Zoom out of the way. So most times, if you think about investing in Florida, Tallahassee is probably not the first place you think of. But what I'm showing you here is that Tallahassee is a growth area, and at one point in time, did have the highest economic growth of all cities within Florida. So that's Miami, Fort Lauderdale, because Tampa, and that may not come as a surprise because a lot of those are probably already, let's say, oversaturated. But due to economy, this being the seat of power in Florida, there are definitely some opportunities here. Also, before I go to that, U.S. News and World Report recognizes Tallahassee as one of the 150 best places to live in the U.S. So there are some benefits there as well. Also, since my last presentation, I stumbled across some additional information about the Airbnbs in this area. So Tallahassee is in a county called Leon County, Florida. But essentially what this article is saying is that the response, the performance, the supply, or the when we talk about the law of supply and demand, or what was the projected revenue that the county thought they would get from Airbnbs was outpaced by 4 times, meaning there was more interest in short-term rentals, mid-term rentals for this area than they had anticipated, which bodes well for what we are looking to do. Yeah, okay, so that's basically a repeat. So looking at the region, let's talk about what Tallahassee is. Well, first of all, it's a sports town, college sports to be specific. You have Florida State, and also one of the most prominent HBCUs, Florida A&M. Florida State, national champions or national championship caliber teams in many areas: men's basketball, men's football, baseball, women's softball, and I think even they're up there in terms of volleyball as well. So when you're looking at things like sports events, major nationally covered sports events, homecomings, things of that nature, just the interest, graduations, and those sort of things, there's a high level of attraction in that area for people coming in to stay for tailgating or what have you. So now let's talk about the project specifics. We've been working on this for quite some time. We're really looking at this project in 2 phases. One is the site development. The second is the construction of the project itself, or construction of the farmhouse itself. The actual ask is really for phase 1. We've already been approved or pre-approved for the loan to build the actual custom home. It's just that Leon County Environmental has required us to do some site upgrades that we need to do before they will give us the permit to build it. So we're looking at the lot subdivision has already happened. We started some of the land clearing and excavation. I've actually done quite a bit of that. We're going to need to put in some irrigation retention ponds as well as a paved access road. So that's where the funds are going to go for. Here's the site development for the building lots. Again, we're estimated right around 414 for everything. You can see here it's very wooded. So we're going to, the clearing is going to be, you know, we're not going to clear all the trees, but we got to do the underbrush, and we got to clear enough around the area for some of the houses to reside, and of course for the road. So there's quite a bit of work. Now you see, this number is a little less than our max number, and what we're going to do is there's some other additional amenities that actually came out of conversations with the 10K project that we want to add, that if we get the additional funds, you know, we'll add things like the pool house and things of that nature, which you didn't see in the renderings, but those are comments that we received from the 10K the first few times that we were here. So we've incorporated that into our overall number. So that's great. Here's just kind of a look at the actual site itself. So you can see very densely wooded. So we got some work to do in terms of the clearing. Here's the main road, Moccasin Gap. And here's the property right here to the right of this one. All right, so now going into the actual property itself, Forbes Farmhouse is primarily a multi-purpose vacation rental / event space. We're going to be focusing on some pretty interesting landscape design and site amenities like the pool, jacuzzi, a fire pit. Again, using a modern farmhouse design. So that typical motif of a farmhouse, just with some more modern elements, a little more glass features, atriums, two-story spaces, great rooms, multi-purpose interiors. This is an area where we're looking to get a lot of revenue from, to be quite honest. This is what we think will be our biggest cash cow. I'll go into that a little bit later. And then we also have, you know, we're looking at energy efficiency and structural integrity. We are in Florida, so you know it's the climate is there, so we want to do things that's going to minimize our heat ratio. So we're using things like structurally insulated panels, which is fiberboard with the styrofoam insulation, which keeps that separation in terms of reducing our cost for heating. So as far as energy efficiency, we're looking to reduce our energy cost by 50% by using this material, as well as the strength and the integrity, but also it's very, it helps with the speed to market because it's a faster form of construction. So instead of having your framers and the standard batt installation, you can literally lift these panels into place, screw them in, and you've basically got your building envelope. So we're really excited about the materials and the building system that we're using. Also, following that same concept of structural integrity, speed, and energy efficiency, we're looking at a hybrid steel column web truss concept that will allow us to basically erect this. And, you know, once this concrete is paved and these are brought in off of the trailer, we could have our framing up probably within a few days, because basically just tilt them up and bolt them down to the concrete footing. Again, also allowing for considerably large spans. So we want that nice large space inside, because that event space area, what we want to call the great room, that's going to be one of the key features for rentals, whether it be corporate rental, parties, receptions, birthdays, expos, any number of things that the community will be looking for we'll be able to leverage that as well. So here's kind of a picture of that interior space with the number of the construction for the custom vacation rental space itself of about just under 900,000. But as I mentioned, we've already been pre-qualified for this amount. We just need to get the site work done. But we are offering, as part of the investors, to be a part of the business of the Forbes Farmhouse, in exchange for investing into the project to get the site done so that we can move on to do this part. So this is just a kind of an interior shot showing the layout as just a residential layout, but you'll see in some other pictures the flexibility for this main event space. Now, of course, when we're talking about short-term or long-term rentals, people coming in for the Florida State, the Florida game, or Florida State Miami, and they want to stay a long weekend, or now you can house 12, 13 alumni, or 4 or 5 families who are down there for a family reunion, all in one location. So it's going to meet a lot of needs for, and a lot of meet the needs for a lot of travelers, both midterm and long term, and that's not even to speak of the event space. So again, here just kind of showing some features again, a little bit closer view. We have some outdoor features, the main area, which is a kind of very dramatic sort of design, and just kind of walking through the interior spaces. So here's one of the primary bedroom on the second floor, walk-in closet, primary bathroom. Again, the great room, again, laid out as a residential space. On the first level, what could be set up as a bedroom, maybe in a residential situation, we'll have it set up primarily as a game room, when we're talking about either corporate rentals or corporate retreats or things of that nature. The upstairs, we were able to kind of get a bonus floor in here just by how we did the structures. So that can, be like a theater room, or kind of like a kid's play area, or even in the example of just as a residence, we could have, this could be the workout room and things of that nature. All right, now here we're kind of focusing in on the great room, or that open area. So again, here's the layout as a just as a residential. Somebody's renting there for a couple of weeks. You have a nice seating area, dining area, fireplace, flat screen TV. However, we could also do corporate trainings, networking events, seminars that the community may look at. Also looking at receptions, whether it be wedding receptions, or actually small weddings in and of itself can be done in the same space. So again, just to give you an idea of the flexibility and where we're looking to probably generate the majority of our revenue will be from this space, and then the rental of the rest of the property would be in addition. So I mean, let's just go back here when we're talking about things like networking events or seminars or workshops, where this could be the main area, but we have other areas like the game room or the theater room where breakout rooms could occur as well. So we've thought of pretty much we've thought of several ways that we can inject versatility into the design, so that we can increase our revenue in terms of the needs of the community. All right, so here's just a quick some floor plans. Again, showing that area. You know, you have your bedroom. Again, here's the game room that we showed you. Second floor, there's a little office area. The primary bedroom that I showed here, primary bathroom. And then the third floor, here's that law bonus room. That is either a theater room or it could be another just an extra utility area or utility room for a number of different things. All right, so as we wrap up, let's just talk about the markets that we're looking to target, because at the end of the day, this is what it's all about when you're talking about crowdfunding and investors. Who's your market? How are you going to penetrate? And what is the potential revenue? So market number one, vacation rentals. What's important about this is that, you know, right now, vacation rentals are on an upward trend, looking to grow at 3.9% between now and 2030. So that's compound annual growth rate. So almost 4% is the this market is growing every year of people who are more interested in vacation rentals than just, you know, going to an area and renting a hotel. Totally different environment. You're just a closely knit. You can kind of have your own space. Again, 3 or 4 families rent this space. That whole experience, you know, the privacy, the pool, the features in terms of the private kitchen, it's just a totally different experience than renting your typical Hyatt or Hilton or something like that. But this is the trend. The trend is people are looking to do more vacation rentals. And this is why this is in and of itself currently like I think around a $16 billion industry. Next is your event space rental. So again, that is in and of itself a $5.8 billion industry. And what we see down here is that just the event space portion is, let me back up, moving too fast. So again, what we're seeing is that event spaces, rental businesses in this country in and of itself are somewhere between $100,000 to $500,000 in annual revenue just for event space rental. So we're looking to capitalize on that because, you know, that's a major part of what we're doing, but we also have some other features as well. So again, here to, you know, holidays, anniversary, weddings, birthdays, memorials, reunions, recitals, the list goes on in terms of just from the event space, what sort of revenue we're looking at. Now we get into things like corporate rentals, where another growth market, about 17.3%. 2020 is 95.3 billion. It's looking to explode between now and 2030. Again, it's already on track to be a $5.10 billion industry. So again, what are we talking about with that? You know, oops, back up. We're looking at general meetings, corporate training, corporate retreats, seminars, trade shows. So again, these are, you know, mid-size, maybe some large businesses in this area are looking for a space to, you know, celebrate employees and that sort of thing, or just have events that build camaraderie, again, whether it's the retreat or what have you. This would be an ideal space for that. And then last but not least, which is an area that we literally are putting on the back burner, which is the corporate housing. Because while this is can be kind of maybe a guaranteed revenue, we're looking at this as kind of a last resort in that, because we feel like if we rent out the whole property for a long period of time, we can do it, a few months here and there. That's actually going to cut into our revenue on the event space, because if somebody rents the whole house, we could rent that open area, that a great room, to have 2 or 3 events a day, depending on the timing. So, but the corporate rental is good because we know that's another market we can tap into, based on our current economy. It's also a growth market. And what happens with the corporate rental? These are some of the big players in the space: Bungalow, Zeus, Sounder, Blue Ground. What they essentially do is they pay you a monthly rate for the property. They have their own book of clients. So essentially, they pay you a flat fee, whether they've booked your property out or not. And most of those contracts are for a minimum of 2 years. So again, we won't initially be looking to engage with them, but we understand there is because we can kind of really do our own version of corporate rental, or if we feel as though it's going to be advantageous to work with one of these organizations, that will also be an option. Really quickly, just kind of looking at the competition and what is currently being priced in that area. So if you look at the map here, this is Tallahassee down here. These are the 2 of the properties, got them right off Airbnb. You guys can look them up yourselves. Of course, the times fluctuate depending on the time of year, but here's where our property will be in comparison. But folks are already getting $600 to $750 a night for properties that, quite honestly, can't really compare to what we're going to build. So we feel very confident that we're going to come in and kind of be the new kid, but the big boy on the block, in terms of being able to garner the bookings, because we'll be comparable in price, but we'll be increased. We'll have a better value. All right. So as I wrap up, let's go to the investment highlights. So what we did, we enhanced we enhanced the return. And this is, had I been had a little bit more experience, but this was definitely kind of a work in progress. This is kind of what I wanted to come out with initially, because as I started doing research on the projects that were getting the type of funding that we were looking for, it's all about what you offer, or what you're offering the investor. So in this scenario, we've sweetened the pot a little bit. So from the cash flow of the property, from the rentals, whatever we make on a monthly basis, it'll be paid quarterly. We're going to be sharing 49% of the profit sharing on the cash flow side for the first 5 years. We're looking at somewhere around like an $80,000 revenue, and also we're looking to basically share 49% of that with the investors. Fast forward, with the equity share, which we always had, but was a lower number, so the ideal is to have this rented out, whether it be events or just Airbnb or a corporate rental, or Airbnb, but more on the mid to long term, not the short term, not the weekends. We're not doing that, but we're going to do more long term rentals. So in 5 years, so we'll get the revenue for that. We'll split that 49%. In 5 years, when the property value increases, we're going to do a cash out refi. We'll probably be in for like 1.2 all in. So we're anticipating in 5 years, we might be in the 1.6, 1.8 area in terms of value, because again, there's nothing like this in that area. We'll do a cash out refi, and we'll split 49% with the investors. And then that kind of marks the end of that 5-year period. But after that 5-year period, for investors who have invested 20,000 or more, we're going to continue to partner with you and pay you a 12% return years 6 through 10. So everybody gets the same pro rata share of their 49% first 5 years, 49% of the cash out refi. But our larger investors, 20K or more, they're going to stick with us for another 5 years, where we will pay them a 12% return. So we're super excited about that. Now here's just looking at the projected returns for $1,000 investment for that first 5 years. We haven't projected it beyond that because $1,000 investment wouldn't qualify beyond 5 years. But here, long story short, if you look at the revenue per year, and then that 5th year, including the cash out refi, you're looking at more than doubling your money in the first 5 years. All right, so with that, I'm going to wrap it up, and I think it looks like we have some questions. Tuan, I don't know if you wanted me to go into the questions, or somebody just want to shoot the questions to me.
Yep. I'll get started and read them. Go ahead and stop sharing your screen. Make sure, guys, if you're interested and you have some follow-up questions, capture this information on the screen.
And I'll
you'll put the contact in the chat as well?
Yeah, I'll put the contact in the chat as well.
Wonderful. Very, very good. Very good presentation. Again, amazing project. I love the look of it. Every time I see it, I just smile. Like, I cannot wait to visit it. Like, I want it to be built so we can go visit. It'd be a road trip and a group trip to Tallahassee. So super, super excited. And I love the enhanced deal terms. Very, very well thought through. And I know you've been studying this area of crowdfunding and looking at other campaigns and seeing what other deal terms are. And so you came without games this time. You have sweetened the pot. Let's see. Anonymous has a question. You're raising $535K, but $405K net is going towards funding. Does that mean $133K or 25% is going towards commissions and fees?
So read that question one more time.
They said you are raising $535, but $405 net is going towards funding. Does that mean $133K or 25% is going towards commissions and fees?
No, that's a great question. So I'm glad that we clarified that. So here's how it works with the crowdfunding. You have a max and you have a minimum. I think so anything above our minimum raise, meaning we may not be able to get all of the funds, but what's the minimum we need to pretty much get this show off the road? So that number is 100,000. But so anywhere between 100,000 and 535, we're good. If we get the full 535, essentially what that means is there's less money we'll have to borrow for certain things from this loan that we already been approved for. But also, again, like I mentioned, based on previous conversations with the 10K, there were some strong advocates for some additional design work, like Kelvin, do a pool house so people don't have to run inside. I'm like, I hear you. So we'll be using those additional funds to enhance the design in those areas for things that we've gotten feedback for. So that's what that extra 135, if we get that, will be to add these other amenities that have been strongly recommended.
Very good. Thank you for hearing us.
No problem.
I want to talk about the fact that you've built in this layer for the future, right? You know, we talk about generational wealth, right? This project speaks so clearly to that because it is your family's land, right?
Yep.
Land that you were able to convince the family, stop selling off. Let's make something for us here. And what you've built into these deal terms is now an opportunity for the rest of us to kind of help create and build some wealth for our generations. And so I want to talk a little bit about the opportunity people have when you talk about that 6 to 10 year mark, right? For
Hmm.
anyone who invests $20,000 or more, there's an opportunity that in year 6 through 10, you will continue to benefit from the profits, right? And so here at the 10K Project, we believe in group economics, and I would be remiss if I didn't call out the fact that this is a great opportunity for group economics, right? And so
100%.
if you have, cousins, friends, family members, you already have a family investment club, or you have a group of friends and you guys have been talking about doing something together, this could be the something, right, that you do. I love that it's a long-term opportunity for those who are interested in really patiently building their assets and building their wealth. So, I mean, what encouraged you to add that component to the campaign?
So, and that's a great question as well, because I'm a big proponent of mutually beneficial business. And that's just, even in Kelstar, I tell people I run my whole business based on the law of reciprocity. So it's a win-win-win, meaning why we already own the land. This is something we were already going to do. Um, you know, if we have people who are willing to support us in that way, essentially you're our 50-50 partner anyway. I mean, that's what it is, because where is the money coming from? It's coming from our crowdfunding investors. So it just makes sense to uh, put a little bit more meat on the bone in terms of a rate of return, because again, at the end of the day, when as an investor, that's really what it's all about. What am I getting for my money? That's why I tell my clients, wherever you put your money, that's your first question. I have it in the bank, I have it in a CD, I have it in annuity. What are you giving me for my money that you're holding?
Mm.
Well, I wanted to make it really clear that we value that, and we're willing to basically partner with you on this endeavor.
Very good. I want to talk a little bit about the fact that the campaign's been open for a little while, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know when you came to us the first time, you received some really, really good results. But some of those investments did not come to fruition. Do you want to talk a little bit about the process and the next steps and the fact that this campaign is live? So you don't have to wait to invest this time, right? So this time around, let's talk about what this means for anyone who's interested.
Yeah, and that's definitely a great part, because I think when I first came, again, not really knowing what to expect, there was a lot of interest, and it's one of those things where the whole strike while the iron is hot, because we were testing the waters. But by the time and it wasn't that long, we were up and running. 10K Project had probably 6 or 7 other sponsors that had great projects as well, which is awesome. So it's important, just in retrospect, to when making these presentations, make sure that people, when are ready to move and we're in a position to accept offers and accept investments, when the investors are ready to make that move. So that's where we are now. I will also add to that, we do have, because we kind of did a relaunch, which is allowed within the crowdfunding process. So we have a new deadline, and that deadline is August 30th. So August 30th is, everyone get in before then, and then if you don't get in before then, we'll see you on the next project.
Very good. So August 30th is the deadline. This
Mhm.
campaign is live. So when you go to the Secure Living site that we've been putting in the link or in the chat, you'll be able to go straight to the campaign page. You'll be able to invest from there after you do your due diligence, of course, and you will be in the deal, right? So this is very different than it was the first time around where you had to
Mhm.
wait and reconfirm and all of those things.
Mhm.
So just to make sure everybody's clear about that. Does anybody have a question about that? For someone who invested initially, these new deal terms, they get them. That's correct?
100%. Yep, it's retroactive. So just there was the process for that as well. That basically they just have to opt in. Hey, we have new enhanced deal terms. Do you still want to be in? So obviously, everybody who was in, they opted in because it's hey, more money is always better. So they were fine with that.
Very good. Very, very good. Right. Any other questions for Calvin?
Questions, comments. Do you like the design? You don't like the design? You want to change the color? You know, why do we're open to all. I've been to many design critiques in my life, so I'm thick skinned. I can take it.
While the community's thinking about some additional questions, I want to talk about, just kind of what the ask is here, right? Obviously, we're asking people to consider becoming investors in Forbes Farmhouse development. But the other thing that we're asking, what I think actually is the most important thing that we're asking, is for the community to share the campaign link, to share that this investment opportunity exists. So share it with your family, share it with your friends, post it on your social platforms. Give others in your life an opportunity to see this deal and make a determination if it's also something that they like and that they would like to then either invest in or share with someone else, right? With August 30th being the deadline, we all know time is flying. I don't know how you guys are feeling, but I feel like time is moving at warp speed. And I am trying to slow it down, but it will not listen, right? And so
Hmm.
August 30th will be here before we know it. And we want to make sure Kelvin gets to his goal so that this project can continue smoothly and there are no additional delays. So the ask of what I'm asking of you this evening is to please share this campaign link with everyone. Doesn't take but a minute to put it on your social platforms, shoot it over to a couple of people that might be interested, but really also consider calling some of your people up and asking them, do they want to go in on this with you, right? This could be an opportunity for that family investment club or for that friend investment club. Um, doesn't take but a hot second to get an LLC these days, right? And you get an LLC with 5 or 6 cousins and everybody goes in on it, and now you have the start of what could be something wonderful, and you can continue to build on that. And before you know it, you have a whole investment portfolio for this investment club that you create. And so just consider that, make some calls with a couple of people and just say, hey, what do you think about this? You might be surprised. Some of those people that you'll say, oh, I'm not going to call such and such because they wouldn't be interested. They may fool you. So nothing, my mother used to always say, nothing beats a blank but a try, right? And so, that
Absolutely.
that's something I want you guys to consider. Time is moving fast, and we've got some catching up to do, right? And every time we do something, we make a move to catch up. Feels like we got to catch up even faster because the world around us is changing, and we want to be prepared for when the changes happen. So keep that in mind as well. Kelvin, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I would just add that's another great point. And in terms of the minimum investment, which is $500. So it's not a situation where you have to put a large amount. The beauty of the crowdfunding is you can get a small group of people to or a large group of people to give a small amount of money, and that will go a long way. 1,000 people investing $500, that's the $500,000.
Right.
So the math is very simple. So even if it's not 1,000, if you're like, hey, I'd like to do this, but hey, 500, you and a few of your friends at 500, 1,000, $1,500, all of that will be very beneficial into getting us to our goal. And of course, you'll be able to receive your proportional share of the returns. Again, what's great about the crowdfunding is I don't have to deal with any of the money from that perspective. Secure Living handles all of that in terms of the payments, money's in the escrow. Again, just to reiterate, this is a SEC vetted and approved project, FCC and FINRA. We've done our background checks. They've looked at our business plan. They looked at our financial statements. So just to get here as a crowdfunding project, we have been vetted by the premier financial the departments within the U.S. government. So that to me should give people some solace in terms of the viability of all of these projects that come here. Just to kind of reiterate, because I know a lot of time people think, oh well, trust me, they've checked this thing out in all directions, and I'm actually excited about that because I want people to have the confidence, but I also want to make sure that I have my ducks in a row before I go out and solicit and ask people's money. I want to make sure that have I considered everything? Have all my expenses? Do I have everything accounted for? And all that happens during this process. So that means the investor, they don't have to rely on as much, because I doubt if anyone can do as much vetting as the SEC. So you can rely on them you still want to do your due diligence, like Mr. Rivers is saying, but understand just for us to get here, I didn't just wake up this morning and call Tawana and say, hey, can I do a presentation? No, right. No. That's not how it works.
That's not how it works. Very good. No, that's a very good point. Yeah, the SEC doesn't play. I mean, between the bad actor checks and all of that stuff, I mean, they are covering all the bases. So you're absolutely right. In addition to the minimum being just $500, I want to make a note also. We talked about the people who invested early, right? The first time you were here. They all increased their investment as well, right?
Say again?
The people who invested early when you were here the first time around, they have the opportunity to also increase their earlier investment.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. They can increase or do an additional investment, however they would like to do it.
Very good. Edward says, does Kelvin know about the smart mirrors that we heard about from okay, we'll talk about that a little bit. So we had a gentleman on 2 weeks ago, I think, Kelvin, and he is turning spaces into AI luxury spaces. So with like all this tech. So like one of the things that he's doing, I forget what he called the stuff, but he can turn
augmented reality.
Well, no, he can turn any window. What was it, the technology called, Talisha? It was something foil.
Yeah, that's it. It's AI foil, but you can get it like at home and Lowe's.
Yeah, so some kind of AI foil that you can put on any window and turn it into a computer. He was also, so what he does is he buys property or houses, and then he kind of retrofits them into luxury smart homes. And so some of the so it's all of the things, little robot butler walking around the house, right? But it's also all of the things, the AI refrigerator or the AI smart refrigerator that helps you tell when you need to, you need more milk. Like it's retrofitting the houses, making them these luxury smart homes. And so that's what Edward's referring to is there could be an opportunity there for you to add some of those smart home components to Forbes Farmhouse to kind of make it more techy for people who are there. You know, something as simple as the, you know, the all the touchless stuff and the facial recognition and, you know, things that kind of, I think people like a little bit of that luxury feel without it feeling too intrusive, right? Without some of that being a bit too, you know, I don't mind, you know, when I'm down on milk, but some things in the house is none of your business if I need more of, right?
Right, right,
So
right.
sometimes it
Exactly,
gets a little
exactly.
intrusive, but the milk and the eggs, I can live with that. But that's what Ed was referring to is there could be an opportunity there to add, you know, down the line, once you get everything and you start decorating, to kind of add some smart home components. And it appears to be very simple to do.
Yeah, and we definitely, you know, I've looked at that and I've started looking at it, especially in terms of the you know, the being able to kind of turn a window or something into a computer. Because of that area where the presentations are, I was looking at, you know, on the inside, basically being able to have that as a monitor. So we're looking at you know, those sort of options, but definitely going to be focusing on making this a very taking advantage of the technology of the day to make this a high-end space and high-end property from
Yeah,
a
very good.
technological standpoint.
Very, very good. Yeah, there's so many things out there like smart mirrors and smart trash cans and smart, you know, everything.
Yeah.
This and smart that. So yeah, very good. But very good point, Edward. Thank you for reminding us of that. Any additional questions before we say goodnight, guys? We've got the link in. So capture that. It'll be in your, you know, in your email that you'll get with the replay. Also, don't forget, right? CalStar Consulting. I don't want to miss the fact that Kelvin has come now. What you did? You did a four-part series, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Four-part series, came and talked to us about wealth building, an amazing experience. We learned so much. And so if you're also interested in some consulting, then please reach out. The contact information for CalStar is also in the chat. But tonight is really to focus on the farmhouse, right? And to help Kelvin get to his goals so that we can break ground and start having some parties in the farmhouse, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Very good. Any final questions? Well, you heard from me. You know what I said the assignment is, right? It's to consider investing, do your due diligence, click that link if you're interested before August 30th, right? And more importantly, please share this campaign link with as many people as you absolutely can. Edward saying investors can't send the payment on WeFunder, Bernard. I'm not sure. It sounds like Edward and Bernard are having a separate conversation. Okay, I thought that was Kelvin, any final statements from you?
None other than, once again, it's been a pleasure to speak to the 10K Project membership. Thank you so much, Ms. Rivers, in terms of all your support with my CalStar itself and the Forbes Farmhouse. Just looking to do, you know, some great things moving forward. You know, I'm very bullish on the whole crowdfunding. I'm actually talking to several other groups who are in the process of putting their crowdfunding projects together. So now y'all gave me another job in addition to the financial consulting. Now I'm a crowdfunding consultant.
Love it.
So we'll be coming back. You might not see me. I might be in the background, but I'm literally working on a few other projects for crowdfunding. And also, I've started working on the second project for the property we have in Florida. I'll give y'all a little sneak preview, but you know, we need investments for the farmhouse.
Right.
The next thing we're looking to do is I may have mentioned this before. We're looking to do vertical farming.
You did talk about that. I think that may have been, I don't know if you told the whole group or if that was
I don't think. Yeah. So we're already working on phase 2 but we got to get phase one off the
Get
ground
phase one
first.
completed. Yep, yep. And we're gonna do just that. So guys, please, think about who you want to share this with. Also, if you know any additional large groups that Kelvin can get in front of, especially if you're in that Florida area, that Tallahassee area, right? I would imagine from a community standpoint, people would love the idea of this project and would want to get behind it. So don't forget about that component. Is if if you know large groups, and when I say large groups, I mean, five or six people, right? Right. Or bigger than
Right.
that. I mean, don't just think you got to be a massive group, because if you know any size groups, right, that would be interested in this, Calvin is always open to come in and talk and explain the project, and so he needs our help with that as well. So if you know any groups, churches, whatever the case may be, and they're looking for some opportunities, Kelvin would be a good person for them to speak to. All right.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much, sir, for joining us again this evening. We really, really appreciate you. Thank you for entrusting us with this opportunity to build wealth for our families with the addition of this project to our portfolios. And so I have no doubt that you're going to meet all of your goals, because this is a wonderful project. And I also love how thoughtful you've been to enhance the deal terms for your investors. We don't see that every day. We really don't. So that
Appreciate
was
it.
very, very thoughtful. All right, guys, you have a wonderful evening. We'll see you again next week. Good night.